What's up everyone? Alex here. I have a question for you. Where were you when Y2K happened? I've no doubt this question will receive a myriad of different responses, and heck, maybe even some of you weren't even around at the time. Regardless of the kind of fear, uncertainty, and doubt surrounding the ushering of the new millennium, many people saw this period as a time of renewal. Destiny Connect, the Tick-Tock Travelers, takes place in this transitionary period. The game was met with critical reviews when it was released in Japan just a few short months ago, and with its release in the West looming, one has to wonder, does Destiny Connect have what it takes to be able to rewrite history and find a more accepting audience? Destiny Connect, the Tick-Tock Travelers, is a traditional turn-based RPG set in the town of Clockney in the year 1999, frozen in time at the turn of the century. You play the role of Sherry, a young girl who finds herself and her friend Pegreo as one of the few citizens capable of moving about. As they continue to explore the town together, they come across a mysterious robot named Isaac, who is tasked with protecting them from the mysterious rogue machines that have begun to take over their home, and the mysterious Dr. Cheatstein, a mad scientist who claims that the source of the disturbance lies in the town's past. With the help of Isaac and the Doctor, Sherry and Pegreo set forth on an adventure across time, as they seek to end this crisis once and for all. When I used the word traditional to describe Destiny Connect, I wasn't kidding. The game features a traditional turn-based battle system, with some of the conveniences found in more recent games in the genre. That means that there are no random battles in Destiny Connect, with all of its enemies being shown on screen and wandering about the field, and that battles display a turn order that allows you to formulate a strategy based on that. The game also allows players to check their enemies' weaknesses at any time, in addition to displaying what kinds of buffs and debuffs each enemy has without utilizing a single turn. Also, Destiny Connect doesn't feature a traditional magic point system, instead employing a skill point system that regenerates at every turn. The skills your characters can use have 3 levels, spending 100, 200, or 300 points depending on how powerful the skill is. These changes hint at the kind of audience Destiny Connect is hoping to attract, and frankly, the battle system was quite snappy that, as a seasoned veteran in the genre, that its battles felt both refreshing and relaxing to me. The words I use to describe might elicit some mixed reactions from many of you, but I can assure you that this is a good thing. It's because of this that the game is able to keep its feeling and mood light throughout the game, which contrasts with some of the game's revelations. That said, the game isn't terribly difficult by any stretch of the imagination. Complementing its battle system is a fun progression system that has a tiny snag. My favorite part of the game's progression is Isaac's ability to transform into different robot forms, akin to many of the jobs and classes you may find in other RPGs. Each robot form has its own progression system, not unlike Final Fantasy X-2's Dress Sphere system, merely requiring the player to unlock said robot form, then spending gears to unlock each node as you work your way from the center of the grid outward. There's 3 kinds of gears you can find in the game: bronze, silver, and gold, and the rarity of the gear will determine how strong each stat will be. You're freely able to swap between different gear rarities at will, but you will need to spend some money to unlock each node. Each skill in Destiny Connect has 5 stages of power, and the only way you can improve them is by utilizing drops from story bosses and pink-colored enemies. Admittedly, this is the part where I'm a bit disappointed with, as seeking pink-colored enemies in a sea of regular green ones becomes top priority. By relegating these items to specific enemies, the developers have successfully managed to avoid requiring players to grind, but I'm quite certain that the alternative, wandering repeatedly across the game's many areas, isn't any fun at all. This is a bit of a shame, given that I strongly believe that the other parts of Destiny Connect function like clockwork, if you will. Thankfully, the game does give you a generous amount of skill upgrade items once you defeat the enemies you'll be facing during the storyline, and pumping all your skills to max early on will just ensure that your journey through Destiny Connect will be even easier. Weaving the whole package together is Destiny Connect's story, and it's one that's filled with stories of hope, love, friendship, family, and even loss. While the storytelling feels geared towards a younger audience, the game does require a considerable amount of reading, so any parents thinking of picking this game up for their children should consider playing it alongside them to help them through these sections. I never would have considered this at all, but as I think about Destiny Connect and other games made for a younger crowd, I couldn't help but think that voice acting would have immensely improved the overall storytelling experience. While I certainly didn't mind reading, the text on screen isn't accompanied by any sort of sound effect as it's slowly displayed, with the emotional impact of each line of dialogue relying heavily on the game's soundtrack. And while the game's soundtrack is great and does resonate emotionally, it certainly can't do the heavy lifting all by itself, and this is where voice acting really would have helped elevate the feelings and emotions of the characters on screen. All told, the story found in Destiny Connect is one that's enjoyable for all ages, with mysteries that genuinely surprised me, making me think, wow, I can't believe they did that. I don't normally devote entire paragraphs talking about the game's soundtrack, but given how Destiny Connect relies so much on it to convey a ton of different emotions, I feel that it's worth bringing up. I got my very first taste of the game's soundtrack when I saw the English debut trailer for the game. The song that played felt sweet, melancholy, and hopeful at the same time, and I credit it as one of the main reasons that I wanted to cover this game to begin with. Out of the entire soundtrack, there was maybe just one song that didn't click with me, given how it sounded a lot like the other songs I've heard in the past. Or perhaps that was the point. It certainly felt like a late 90s composition, and maybe the song meant to evoke memories of that era, given how the game is set around that time period. Either way, it's a drop in the bucket compared to the many compositions in the game, and you'll find no shortage of great songs here, representing multiple genres, with a host of sweeping, emotional melodies, and energetic rock anthems. There are a few things in Destiny Connect that might impact players who wish to play the game. For one, the camera rotation speed has a very long acceleration curve and has a slight lag, making for a frustrating experience when trying to swing your camera to a specific direction. I found that by setting the rotation to a slower setting made the camera controls feel a bit better, interestingly enough. Also, the game, by default, automatically resets the camera behind Sherry, creating an even more jarring experience. This too is a setting that can be remedied in the options screen. And lastly, the game's art style can be an acquired taste. While it certainly hasn't bothered me in the slightest, I've seen Destiny Connect's art style being described as a smoother looking late-gen PS2 game, and with the game running on Unreal Engine 4 and doing a decent job at maintaining 30 FPS on the PS4, it kinda makes you think what's preventing the game from achieving higher frame rates. Though my review was based on the PS4 version, I have heard that the Nintendo Switch version doesn't perform as well as the former, and if you're thinking of picking up the game on that platform, I'll be linking a Nintendo Switch review here for you to view. Though the soundtrack served to attract my attention to the game, I started my playthrough of Destiny Connect, the Tick-Tock Travelers, with the goal of answering a simple question. Who is this for? It's obvious that the game leans towards a much younger audience, but could there be room for people like myself to enjoy it? The more I played of Destiny Connect, the more the answer became apparent to me. It's a game for everyone, one that's for first-time RPG players of all ages, and one for genre veterans who want a breath of fresh air from all the monster slaying and the darker themes that gain a lot of attention from the masses. For all its simplicity, Destiny Connect contains a satisfying battle system, a progression system that harkens back to the early 2000s, and a story that anyone can relate to. Destiny Connect, the Tick-Tock Travelers, might be lost to time thanks to the many other games vying for your attention this season, but it's got a lot of heart in it, like the little engine it could. And anyone wishing to join Sherry and Pegreyo on their travels will have a wonderful and memorable experience here.